So this is just for blackjack. So basically, if you have a two showing, assuming that you have that they have a 10, not an ace, you would have four more outs if you assume they had an ace, because they could have 13 instead of 12, right? But you always assume that they have a 10, right? So this gives you outs because they're not always going to have a 10, right? Most of the time, there's only 16 10s. Like there's four 10s, four jacks, four queens, and four kings. So that's 16 cards out of 52 that are 10, and then the four aces. So there's 20 cards out of 52 that are 10 or higher in blackjack. So in this scenario, you have you're playing with outs instead of counting cards, right? So in this scenario where you have 2 out of 10, you'd have 36 outs left in the deck, right? Because you're assuming that they have a 10, right? They could have a 9, they could have a 2, they could. So you have bad odds, like your odds are going to be wrong, but you're going to be mathematically more profitable long term because you're assuming just based on outs now, right? So you're always going to have more, right, in this scenario, because they're not always going to have the 10, right? When they have their 10, sometimes you're going to be wrong because there might only be 3 9s, right? So it would be 33 outs, right, when they have the 10. But most of the time, they're not going to have the 10. They're going to have other cards other than the 10 or the ace, right? So this makes it a good, solid strategy, still long term to be a profitable player long term. I'll make videos and then I'll post them on some forum, probably YouTube, because TikTok they don't really like gambling too much. I posted a video. I made a 20-minute video. I put people on 2 hands in 20 minutes, and then they didn't let me post the video. I only tried twice, and I was raped both times because I played millions of hands. When COVID started, everybody isolated, so I needed something to do as a hobby, and I like games, so I wanted to master a game that I could make money at. So I started playing Texas Hold'em poker more. So all I did for all day long was watch poker, play poker for years, and I played something like 870,000 real money hands and millions of play money hands. So when I would lose my real money, I would just go back to the lab and start playing play money hands, like that song. Anyways, so now with this here, so you have outs. So right here, so if they have a 2 showing, they have 36 outs to possibly hit, because they could hit 9. They need to hit 9 or less. With a 3 showing, they have assume that they have a 10 every time. They would have 32 outs, and then 28, 24, 20, going all the way down to 4, right? Because if they have a 10 showing, they could have a 10. They could split, and then they could hit the ace, right? So they'd have four outs basically to try to get the 21 should it be necessary. And so basically, dealers have to hit on a soft 17, right? If they have if they're using the ace as 11, they have to hit on the 17, right? So if they have a 5 shown, that's a bust card, so you wouldn't really want to hit. If you had 16, you wouldn't want. If I had 12, I'm not always hitting if they have a 5 showing, because they have to. If they had 15, they have to hit, and they're likely to bust, right? So if you're at the casino playing blackjack, remember, it's your money. It's not the other player's money. The other players are going to get mad if you try to go against the conventional system where they give you the little player's card, and if you don't follow the strategy. But if you follow the strategy long term, you're a losing player because the house always wins, right? So you got to have this strategy long term. You'd have a better chance of being a more profitable player, because you're always assuming that they have a 10, which they might not, right? So which increases your odds because you're always hedging on safety, right? Like you're being more conservative. So right here, when they have it with a 12, they have 36 cards out of 52 per deck, and there's usually 8 decks in a shoe, right? So that'd be 8 times 36, but it's redundant, right? So you would assume that they have 36 outs. And so that's 9 out of 13. So that means you bust 4 out of 13 times, right? And then so if they had 13, you would bust 5 out of 13 times. With 14, you'd bust 6 out of 13 times. So really, with 14 is really the last time you should hit in blackjack, because you have better than a 50% chance of hitting the cards that you need. But if you see with 15 here, you bust 7 out of 13 times, right? So you're going to bust, say, 55% of the time and only hit 45% of the time, right? Something like that. Let's see what it is. That's ballpark. That's pretty close math, but let's see what it is here. Calculator. 7 divided by 13. So 53. So 54% of the time, basically. So basically, it all depends on the bus card, right? And like the card that they're showing. And so if you, and go with your instinct, right? Switch it up. Don't always, and switch up your bet. Like if you're playing, like if you win one-handed blackjack, right? You got lucky, you won, right? So then next hand, the odds go down that you're going to win 2 hands in a row. So now if you win 2 hands in a row, the odds go down even more that you're going to win 3 hands in a row, etc. Keeps on going up. Like the more, like it's impossible without it being rigged that you're going to win like 6 hands in a row. The odds must be 1 in trillions that you're going to win 6 hands in a row in blackjack, right? So always switch up your bet. And so if you win 2 hands in a row, then go lower your bet. Go to the minimum bet, and then you might lose a couple. And then after you lose a couple, then increase your bet because you're likely to win, right? As after you lose several hands in a row, your odds are 1 in trillions that you can't win 6 hands in a row. The odds are 1 in trillions that you shouldn't lose 6 hands in a row, right? So if you lost 5 hands in a row now and you still have money, you might as well try to risk more on the 6th hand because the odds are that you're going to win. The odds go up, right? Especially if you play solid math strategy. You play based on the outs, right? If you do the outs and just 36 out of 52, it doesn't matter how many shoes there are, right? Because it's just like you would still have 36 for each deck of cards, right? So there's 8 shoes, so it'd be 8 times 36. But that's redundant, right? Just do outs based almost like Texas Hold'em poker, right? They have poker outs, right? So just do based on outs, and you'll have a difference. So I don't know if I said it in here in this one here, and but my nose is bigger today, wider than it was yesterday. I'm just gonna take a picture because they augment my face, because I'll show you. Well, in the next video I post on my TikTok, you'll see that I'm going to post the videos of my nose, but I don't have wrinkles that I had 5 years ago on my YouTube videos. And even around my eyes are different from my videos from 5 years ago on YouTube. Because I haven't smoked in 9 days, so my body's rejuvenating in the hospital. But anyway, so try that strategy, and you'll watch. I'll create I'll create a blackjack channel because my son likes blackjack, so I want to help him master the game. So I'm going to play thousands of hands, and I'll figure it out and see how it goes. I'll screen record it so you'll see what I'm doing, and I'll kind of talk through the process because I'm really good at math. I've been the first in the world in a math game before. In grade 2, I was offered to do grade 6 math for half the day. And in grade 9, I was offered to do math for a math tournament for all of my province, basically. Like if you're American, it'd be like for your state. Like, so I live in Ontario, Canada. So like I was offered to do a math tournament for all of Ontario in grade 9. And then once again, I was first in the world in a math game. So anyways, so just try those odds and just do quick math, right? Like just fractions, right? Like just know that with like you don't always want to hit on 15, like almost never hit on 15 because you're going to lose. Like you have a greater than 50% chance of losing, right? So you're mathematically going to be a losing player long term if you always hit on 15 because you're going to be losing 3.8% per 100 every time.